so I thought I'd probably put my 2 pence worth into the Fender debate, and whatever one thinks that, or whatever they think that they're going to achieve. And I probably have no right to comment, because I've had lots of strats over the years, and I think I've documented in previous, lots of Fender strats over the years, I'm going to say. And I think I've documented in all the past videos that basically I never really got on with them at all at any stage, or any Fender guitar of that matter. Their amps were great, but let's go back to the Strat thing. Now the Super Strat, which came in the 80s, or the Super Strat idea, with people like Hamer and so forth, I loved those as soon as that began to happen, and the innovation that came in from Ibanez, particularly Hamer. I used to have a Hamer Chaparral, and that was, you know, to me was a great, but it's officially a Super Strat. And you can look at Kramer, you can look at so many brands that sat on the Super Strat ladder. You can look at what I use now, which I suppose would still be, as far as Fender's concerned, based upon their body shape. But they never changed anything. In all of their history, they lie back on the laurels of what they did in the 50s, which was the Strat. They didn't protect it then, and now they're trying to stop the builders that build super guitars that Fender never made. And I'm sure that that's been mentioned before, that they never made these instruments. So John Suhr, for instance, I think the Suhr Strats, or the Suhr S-style guitar, it's not a Strat, it's a wonderful piece, and it's what I use live all the time. I would never use a Fender, because what I didn't like about them was the fingerboard radius and the fact that it had a curve at the front, whereas John Suhr, they're fairly flat, as they are with Tyler. James Tyler is another one. Now Fender never made that kind of guitar, and that's what I've settled on. I was in the sort of 70s. I was always a Gibson player. I started on, SG Customs was what I had, and a Gibson L6S, which was their answer to Fender at the time. I loved those two guitars. I didn't particularly get on with Les Pauls in those days, but Gibson never went down this road. I mean, I know they challenged Dean and stuff with the fact that but they did create very different body shapes, most of which, if you're standing up playing guitar, don't work very well. But I use a James Tyler guitar at home, and if I go and do any sessions, that's what I will use. But live, it's always, well, virtually 90% of the time, I will use a Suhr guitar. Now, all of those builders built guitars that Fender chose not to make. They didn't change their original design. They didn't. It's the radius, the springboard. It's everything that they did was to reserve some kind of 50s status, and they've always lived in the 50s, the 60s. Lots of players use them, but they get stuff from them that, well, now that they're charging ridiculous amounts of money for custom shop guitars, you think, I don't know where they're going with all of this. I'm making this comment as someone who's not a user of Fender, and never will be again, because I've probably had over the years something in the region of 25 to 30 different strats, and I never liked any of them. You know, I'd have them for a while and I just think, oh no, I need to get rid of this. Actually, I had a Squire Strat, which was for me better than all of the others. But once again, it's this idea of you put 9s on it, because that's what Fender were issuing from the factory to make it easier to play with a curve radius, and it's just like it's why would you do it? Why would they do what they're doing? So that's my my view of the Fender issue, and I just thought I'd bring it to the front. And just to add to it, I'm going to just play along to something using a superstrat, which is the James Tyler. So I'll start that now, and we'll go into it and let it play. But that's my 2 cents worth. I think that, and I hope that Fender back out of this, and because if they try to stop all of the other strats because of a body shape, which actually most people have slightly altered it anyway, on ruling that somebody didn't, the company didn't defend, the Chinese company didn't defend in Europe, I just find it amazing. They make a lot of money on the background of playing and recreating the same guitar, the Performer, all of those, you know, they dropped the standard, and then they rebought it back in a different, you know, made in a different country. The company has just gone mad, and whoever the new CEO is, it needs his brains testing. If he thinks that it will, I hope that lots of guitar players are turned off of them. I hope that the shops like Anderson's, which should respond as well, Peach Guitars, just respond to Fender and say, we don't want your dealership. And by the way, they can undercut anything that Fender do in Europe if they want to. They're not stuck by price regulations that they have in the States. So it might really backfire on Fender. I think this cease and desist action has been really silly. Here we go. And that was that. As I said, that's my 2p worth on Fender. I just think somehow they were living in their 50s and 60s. Hey, there were lots of 70s guitarists that used them, Jeff Beck and everything like that, but they were kind of modified to their own style, and Eric Clapton stuck with them forever, but you know, since he changed from Gibson. But this just, what they're trying to do to Europe makes no sense at all. And I will always use superstrats because I like the idea. There were parts of the Fender design that were great. It wasn't necessarily the body, and people like Sir and James Tyler and Tom Anderson have refined all of that to make something better. I think if they're going after the Silver Sky, I've never had a Silver Sky PRS, but PRS had deep pockets as well. I think Toman had deep pockets, so you could argue that they might have shot themselves in the foot with this. Bye bye.